Hi, everyone. My name is Sydney Barnett. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you on this LinkedIn Live about lung cancer and research and all that I'm looking forward to ahead. My connection to lung cancer is that I am a stage 4 lung cancer survivor. I was diagnosed probably almost 7 years ago, while I was going through my medical residency. I am also an internal medicine physician, and a hospitalist. Um, this is just, so amazing that I'm able to talk about this experience because it has really touched who I am and is really the reason why I'm alive today. I started having a cough and I had some shortness of breath. I went to get an x-ray done and it showed a new, what we call a consolidation. Is just the left lower lobe was completely white on the image. And they originally thought I had a pneumonia and treated me as such. And when my symptoms weren't resolving, I decided that I would see a pulmonologist who said, oh, you probably have hyperactive airway disease. Here are some steroids. I was in the middle of moving to the States at the time. So when I started internship, I had said I would see a pulmonologist. When I began wheezing, I decided that I needed to speed the process up. And lo and behold, after repeating an x-ray again, they still saw the same, abnormality. However, it was smaller. I requested a CT just for the fact that I was concerned that the abnormality was still there at this point in time, would have been a year later. And the CT showed that there was a mass compressing my airway, and that was the reason I was wheezing. So after a whirlwind of tests, I think that between the x-ray that saw the same consolidation to the bronchoscopy, to getting referred to a tertiary center and having repeat bronchoscopy and other workup, was a month. And I was then told that I had stage 4 lung cancer. Thankfully, they sent my tumor for biomarker testing. I was found to have a biomarker called ALK. And I was started on targeted therapies right away, which I responded well to. I think probably about a year ago, I had progression, and they were able to move me to another medication that was able to take care of that progression. And for right now, I have, no evidence of disease, and I'm looking forward to the future. And that's the reason why I think research is so important. Biomarkers are so important, because I would not be able to live such a functional life, being able to work full time, being able to work out, being able to spend time with my friends and family, if it wasn't for the fact that research made biomarkers possible. Being a physician and a patient, I have a very unique perspective, I think. It has made me a more rational patient. It has made me a more empathetic doctor, I believe. During the pandemic, I dealt with cancer patients a lot because the cancer floor at my hospital was deemed one of the COVID-free floors. So I was stationed there for 2 years. And during that period of time, I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about the cancer process, just having to take care of patients in all stages of their journey, through diagnosis all the way to, talking about the difficult conversations about end-of-life care. And I think that for patients, especially when they're beginning their journey, they think that, oh my God, I'm going to die soon. A cancer diagnosis is very scary. And for some of them, I do share my journey and my story, just to tell them that, cancer is scary, but it may not, be a death sentence. There's a lot of hope and research that is coming. And I do tell them about reaching out to resources and making sure that they feel that they are not alone. For that, I think that they do appreciate it. I don't tell my story to everyone, but the ones that I do think need it, I am able to connect with them and let them know that, there are steps moving forward. There is a future. I also think that as a patient, I can reflect from what I learned from them, to know how to interact with my care team and what to ask, what I think is important. And I think that between those two things, it has made me have a more positive outlook. Sometimes I have to kind of take a step back and say, Sydney, today is a bad day, but tomorrow is a better day. So I think that's one of the main things for me in terms of my perspective on being on both sides. So for me, precision medicine it has been a game changer. As I said before, I was diagnosed during internship. So that's, 80-hour work weeks, that's, beginning of my residency. And for me, I'll give you a little background. So I decided I wanted to be a doctor when I was 4 years old. And I have a dad who, yes, he is a physician as well. He's a surgeon. And I got interested in it originally, yes, because I was daddy's little girl. However, I genuinely got interested in it as I grew older. And so all the decisions that I made, including in high school, in Jamaica, undergrad, were geared towards that. So imagine my fear in intern year being diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. And just thinking that I've put so much years into this goal, and to have it not being able to be fulfilled because of this, and I'm going to have to do chemotherapy, and my hair is going to fall out, and I'm not going to have any energy, and oh my God, I have lung cancer. Am I going to go on oxygen? Am I going to be able to have the energy to withstand this internship, much less this residency, working so many hours? And for the fact that they were able to find out what is driving my cancer and able to give me a medication that just pinpoint that mutation to turn it down or off, and that I was able to have very minimal side effects to be able to complete my intern year, complete my residency on time, and even being a chief resident during my residency program. For me, that just shows me how important research and precision medicine is. Because if it wasn't for precision medicine, I would not be able to have done that. If I was diagnosed 15, 20 years ago, would I still be here almost 7 years after stage 4 diagnosis? I don't think so. So that is just how important and how powerful precision medicine is. So the other thing that I wanted to say why biomarkers is so important to me, not only because it touched my lives, but I think that it will touch the lives of so many people who are like me. That's one of the reasons why I am such an advocate for biomarker testing. I have worked with various organizations to get the word out that if you're diagnosed with lung cancer, one of the first questions you should ask your oncologist is, do I have a biomarker? Just to make sure that biomarkers are one of the things that are being tested, because it is the standard of care, especially if a patient has minimal to no smoking history. I have worked with organizations to push through legislation at the state level to try to get biomarkers covered by insurance companies, because sometimes biomarker testing is refused by insurance companies, and that brings a big financial burden to the patient. But again, this test is just so important. And I'm thankful that my state has passed that legislation, and it's been passed through various states to make sure that biomarker testing is covered by insurance companies. And I'm hoping in the near future that all 50 states will have that legislation so that biomarker testing and the finances, you know, associated with it is not a barrier to have this test being done for necessary patients. Research can show us the disparities in lung cancer by telling us, why people are getting lung cancer, can show us the different incidences, the survival rates amongst different demographics. It can tell us things like genetic susceptibilities, access to care, environmental exposures, socioeconomic barriers. It can show us so many different things. Being able to identify those things leads to us being able to correct those things so that everyone can have equitable access to care when it comes in terms of not only lung cancer, but any type of cancer. To start the conversation with patients from underserved communities about lung cancer and precision medicine, it means that you have to be able to have not only, empathy, but you also have to have, cultural competence. You need to know how to connect with these patients. You need to be able to build trust by not only acknowledging the fact that, there are some past mistrust and injustice that has happened. You need to be able to use simple, culturally relevant explanations. Using medical jargon for a lot of these patients is just not going to connect with them. They don't understand it, and they need to be able to understand why this will be important for them and how it will benefit them. You need to be able to address any concerns. So, of course, costs and treatment processes need to be addressed so that they will know that it's not going to be a hindrance to them. If they can't afford it, they're not going to want to do it. Because, of course, finances is one of the main burdens that patients have when it comes to cancer care. We need to be able to address the community leaders for advocacy and outreach and let them be able to help us also connect with the minority or the, underserved communities so that they can at least have some trust used through them and provide accessible resources to them so that, they can be able to see it, read it in in their own home, being able to reach out to persons to ask questions. I think that by hitting on those things, it would be able to get the underserved communities more engaged and more aware of precision medicine. One of the reasons why I share my story is because not many patients are as fortunate as I am. 3 years after I was diagnosed, my aunt was diagnosed with lung cancer. She unfortunately passed this year, and that also builds reason for me to continue advocating because many patients cannot. They have side effects, they don't respond to treatments, their treatments fail after a while, and that's the importance and the reason why I do it, because we need more research, we need more precision medicine, we need more to be able to survive this illness. While I have lived 7 years with it, many patients don't make that mark, and it's unfortunate. So I think that that's one of the reasons why I continue to pursue more awareness and work with more organizations to do that. I think with lung cancer, the most unfortunate thing is that it is treated like a stepchild. It is stigmatized. And because of that, there's a lack of empathy in the communities, in the public. There's lack of awareness that anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. And the fact that there's lack of empathy towards lung cancer patients because of the association between smoking and lung cancer. Smoking is a risk factor for many illnesses, lung cancer included, but that doesn't mean that our community does not deserve more empathy, more research, and more treatment options. And I think that that is one of the things that I would love people to know, that I didn't smoke. I was 33 at diagnosis. I was young, fit, in residency. By all accords, I did everything right, and I was still diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer anyway. The fact that there are screenings for lung cancer for high-risk patients that are underutilized by the community because of lack of awareness of it. Everyone knows to go and get a colonoscopy every 5 to 10 years. Everyone knows that you should get a mammogram every year. But for some reason, it's just not being put out there that if you are high risk and you meet criteria for lung cancer screening, that you should get lung cancer screening every year as well. And all of this just shows that there just needs to be more awareness about lung cancer, which I find very sad because lung cancer kills more people than breast, colon, and prostate cancer combined. It's the number 1 cancer killer, but the public awareness is surely lacking. So that's one of the things that I would love people to know.